Today we're going to be talking about the history of wands. Wands date back centuries. Original wand makers were druids. Druids were members of priestly classes and produced wands out of materials like vine. In ancient times, many wands were constructed around cores that witches and wizards brought with them, and this is not as common today. In 382 BC, some of the first original wand shops were from the Ollivander family, the ancestor of Ollivander. The original was thought to come from a Mediterranean country and set up a store in a place that developed into what is known today as Diagon Alley. Ollivander researched the best wand cores that fit wands and believed wands to choose the wizard. The Ollivander family revolutionized the wand choosing process. However, there are other wand makers. Mikhail Grigorovich, owner of Grigorovich Zauberstaben, in English Grigorovich Wands. He owned this wand shop in Europe from 1926 to 1987. He also sold wands in markets. Victor Krum received his wand from Grigorovich. Grigorovich was considered an expert in wand lore. Jimmy Kittle was another British wizard and wand maker that rivaled Ollivander and Grigorovich. He is a proprietor of Jimmy Kittle's Wonderful Wands located in Diagon Alley. Not much is known about him currently to this day. Johannes Jonker, an American Muggleborn that was one of the four primary American wand makers in the early 20th century. He is shown in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. It is said that he would place signature mother-of-pearl inlays in his wands that were easy to recognize. They preferred the core of his wands to be the hair of a wampus cat. Violetta Beauvais, she was another one of the four primary American wand makers in the early 20th century. She was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, and was known for using swamp mayhaw wood from trees in Louisiana. The wand core she used in her wands were rougarou hairs, similar to werewolves, and it is thought that her wands were related to dark magic due to this rougarou hair. But many good witches and wizards had her wands, including the famous Serafina Picquery. Thiago Quintana, an American wizard that was another one of the four American wand makers in the early 20th century. It is said his wands were created with elegance and had great force. His wands had the spine of a white river monster and was used as the core. The creature was said to be native to Arkansas. After his death, no other wand makers experimented with this core. This being because no one else has been able to lure creatures out of hiding that was used for this core. Jacoba Wolf, another one of the four American wand creators in the early 20th century. Wolf was of Native American descent and used Thunderbird cores for his wand. Thunderbird wands were said to be incredibly powerful but difficult to master. They are often sought after by the most interested and gifted people in transfiguration. Thunderbirds are cousins to the phoenix, and they're capable of causing storms. Arturo Cephalopoulos. He was a wand maker in the 19th century that competed with Garrick Ollivander's grandfather, Gerbold Ollivander. Gerbold Ollivander claimed silver lime had an association with divination. Arturo stated Gerbold's claim was, quote, a falsehood circulated by merchants like Gerbold Ollivander, who have overstocked their workshops with it and hope to shift their surplus. There isn't much more known about Arturo, but the fact that he was called an ignoramus from Garrick, and Arturo eventually went out of business. Cosme Acahor was a French wand maker that ran a wand shop in Paris. He's mentioned in the Crimes of Grindelwald, but not much else is known about him. Some witches and wizards have actually personally made their own wands. These include Isolde Sayer and James Stewart. They started the Olivermony School of Witchcraft and Wizardry and created a wand for Chadwick out of a serpent horn. Salazar Slytherin created his own wand out of a basilisk horn and snakewood. And Antioch Peverell, that is thought personally created the Elder Wand with a thestral core, even though some think it was death and perceive death as a literal figure. Ollivanders came to Britain in 382 BC. They set up a stall where they sold wands in early times. Eventually, the stall location developed into what is known as Diagon Alley, and the building there today